What's up, everybody? It's Jeremy here from Ocean Bound. And you ever put a price on a sesh? Sometimes, you look back and for some reason you can say, that sesh really cost me. Whether, it's your sanity or, maybe you broke some gear. Maybe you got injured, could be because you lost something, or maybe you had to pay a fee or a fine. Well, my last session, I can say cost me just over $1,000. And in ways, it was a great sesh, but was it worth it? Like $1,000? All right, so things started out okay, and we all had the day off around here, and it was blowing, but it was blowing west. West kind of sucks. We always call west angry winds, because when we're living on the East Coast, that means the wind is coming off the land in most places. And unless there's swell, I don't find it really worth it to ride in offshore winds, flat water conditions, because I live right down the street from a flat water spot, and you can wing there in any wind direction. And trust me, the joy of riding flat water has just really kind of lost its luster with winging, but whatever, I digress. So my buddy Haley, really wanted to do this downwinder on Cape Cod. He wanted to go from Corporation Beach to First Encounter Beach. It'd be like a shore runner. The waves are all wind swell, but they can stack up kind of really nice in this area when it's cranking for hours coming from the west. So he wanted to hit it right at high tide. That was mid-afternoon, around 2 o'clock. And I had to be home by 6:30 to hang out with my kids while my wife went to work. So the schedule was tight for a 2-hour ride home, and that's without traffic. Stupid daylight savings just cut off an hour from our days. A week ago, it was getting dark at 5:30, and now, the sun's setting today at 4:23. If you live in a place without daylight savings, you're lucky. So Haley was convinced that we need a straight west to make everything work. And 2 of the 3 forecasts had that straight west. But the forecast, the HRRR forecast that we typically go with, was kind of like a southwest, west-southwest kind of thing. So I was skeptical looking at that coastline just ever so slightly going kind of on an east-northeast angle, and too much south. I was just worried that the wind would come off the land and there just wouldn't be enough kind of bumps or waves to ride, and the wind would just be angry and dirty anyway. And I haven't mentioned it yet, but I really wanted to parawing. I had a few good parawing sessions earlier this year, months ago, but I haven't had a good parawing session since I bought that paella. That wing has just frustrated me so much that I don't even feel like parawinging anymore. My ka parawings suck at going upwind, but the paella was supposed to kind of fill that gap. It just hasn't. But the kas are just great for going downwind. I love those parawings, and I really wanted to win after all this time. I wanted to feel what parawinging and downwinding was like again. So when Haley mentioned this whole downwinder, my brain kind of activated with potential stoke. And could this be the win that I've been looking for? So I tried to contain myself. There's just a lot of factors that could totally make this suck. So I drive to the Cape with a head full of caution. It was blowing high 20s and it was cold. It was 36 degrees, freaking brr. And it definitely was snowing as I was driving down there, WTF. So we get to First Encounter, which happens to be the first place that the Pilgrims encountered the Native Americans. It's windy, sand blowing across the parking lot. I opened up the window and the sand was stinging my eyes. So my friends, they'd be winging, I would be on the parawing. So we organize, we get our stuff ready, pack my friend's pickup truck, and we head upwind. So the 3 of us arrive at Corp and we get set up. I didn't have a lot to do, and we figured that I'd be slow with my big foil, so I just went for it and they would catch up with me. So for gear, I'm riding my 75 meter ML board, and I decided to ride my 1180 Armstrong high aspect foil. I wanted easy, and I just felt like I'm the most comfortable on that. I could have ridden my 1250 code, it just felt too big for these these conditions. I could have ridden the 1130, but I knew that the 1180 Armstrong would just work. For the tail, I used a 140 dart, fully shimmed. I was gonna use a Cedrus aluminum mast, but then I ended up going for the surf mast instead, just because it's shorter, and I've already parawinged with it, and I knew what it was like. I wanted the wind, you know? For a parawing, I decided I was gonna use a 2.9 meter. And because of the unknown, you know, me being safe, the fading light, you know, the conditions, and I wasn't really sure if like the 2.9 was gonna be enough, I decided to bring my 4.2 Ka as a backup. And what I did is I have a Vycobi vest, and it's got a hydration sleeve in the back. I was able to roll up that wing tightly and put it in the sleeve for the hydration vest and Velcro it shut. I was stoked because then I could like use my stash belt for actually stashing my 2.9 meter, and I just had that 4.2 just in case. I brought water, I brought electrolytes, I had my phone, I had a tool, I had a knife, I had my PLB personal locator beacon. I was good to go. No lie though, I totally struggled at first. I mean, I was all kind of a struggle. You know, it really was blowing high 20s, and then it eventually ramped to like over 30, gusting to 40. But I started slow. There was a lot of like working the kinks out, and I was just trying to gain confidence. That's the beauty of a downwinder, right? You just kind of keep going for it, and usually things get better. So I rode some waves with like the wing like up in the air, my hand for a while, and then eventually I started riding the waves, like, you know, gathering up the wing, holding that in my hands. And then I started getting more confident, and I was stowing the wing in the wing pouch and getting some nice rides in. The conditions are pretty fun. Some section had some decent waves. It was cool dropping in on some, and then it was just fun riding them in general. So I was trying to turn a lot. I was dialing it in, you know? I was remembering my friend Nick's like recent YouTube video about reading bumps, and I was like trying to channel him while I was out there. I know I don't look fancy out here, but I was just getting stoked. A few random times I'd like pass my friends, and I felt like I was just like one of my kids when, you know, they who wanted so badly to show me something, and they just get so stoked when you see it, and when you acknowledge that you just witnessed them do something like really damn cool. That was me. I felt like a little kid when it was working, and you know, this is all still very new to me, so I'm just enjoying that whole kind of part, you know? I'm sucking it all in. So I was about 8 miles into what would eventually be a 14-mile journey that something happened. And I had to go back and I had to look at the footage, and I found it. I was passing by, you know, the town of Brewster, about a half mile offshore. You know, my parents used to live here in Brewster, and I've walked the beaches here just many times. I had had what I would consider the best run of the day. You know, it was minutes up on foil, and I was so stoked. I fell in, but I didn't care. And as I was collecting myself, right here is where my backup 4.2 meter fell out of my Vycobi vest. I can't believe I didn't see it. It was right there on the other side of my board. I almost touched it. And as I got my shit together, it brings me so much sadness to watch the footage and see it float away from me, just being completely clueless. I got up and I finished the run without incident, and it ended up ramping. It was gusting over 40, but I was cool, you know, not having to worry about anything but just like going downwind. It really helped. And then, you know, I got back to shore, and then I walked to my car, and I went to go show my friend Rich, you know, how I stashed my backup wing in my vest, only to find it was gone. And it's just bummed. Doesn't even like begin to describe it. This is sad, crestfallen. So I'm pretty sure I pinpointed the spot where I lost it, you know, offshore from a place called Point of Rocks in Brewster. So maybe it would get to shore. When you follow like a west wind, it would most likely get to like, you know, Linnell or like Ellis Landing, maybe Crosby. but most likely it's not going to be found with my luck. And no, I'm silly, I didn't put my name on it. That night I called the police, they made a report, so if anyone does find it, you know, I'll get it back. But more importantly, if someone finds it, they're not gonna like do a search for a missing, you know, parawinger out there. They told me to call the natural resources, and so I did that, you know, just in case someone finds it on the beach and hands it to them. My buddy Rich, who lives down there, he went looking for it in the morning. He went to a couple different beaches. He used his drone to kind of search the shoreline, and he went through 5 different batteries. He covered miles of shoreline. Nothing. Over $1,000 down the drain. And now I'm stuck with no 4.2, and I actually have two 2.9 meters. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I do love the cause, but it's frustrating that it doesn't go upwind. And I'd get a Kanaha, but I don't have any more credits with BRM, and Greg himself says they only go upwind 5% more than the Ka. And like, honestly, I need more than that. I don't think that's enough to make it worth getting. So I think I might as well go for something else. You know, I could use something in like the 3.7 to like the 4.3 meter range, so I could take it out in like 20 miles an hour of wind. Hopefully rip up wind better than the Ka, but ideally still kind of easy to fly and stow like the Ka. So I'm considering the pocket rocket or the frigate. So if anyone has any experience with both of those and could tell me, you know, why I should get one in particular, you know, please leave a comment. Or please feel free to mention anything else that I should be considering. So I'm so bummed that what was otherwise a relatively successful and fun session had just such a high price tag, you know? Like, I'm cool, but that was an expensive session. I'm not deterred, you know, it's the cost of like going for it, and I learned a lot being out there that day. Riding and reading the bumps and pumping and just like getting more comfortable out there. And I didn't get injured, you know, and I made it home with 15 minutes to spare before my wife had to go and leave. So, you know, score on that. It is what it is. There will be better days, but I did have some successful runs with the parawing stowed, and that's just fucking rad, and I want more. So that's it for this week, everyone. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see some more, please consider clicking that subscribe button and helping me get to 1 million subs. I promise my kids to get there someday. Drop me a comment. Is anyone else having bad luck lately? It'd probably make me feel better if I heard about it. And please let me know any new parawing that I should try. Like, I'm a little lost in this whole situation with that. I hope all of you guys are doing well out there. I'll see you guys soon on the flip, and I wish you all an awesome day. Later.